In this story time, we are going to be talking about the secret history of Christianity. The secret history of Christianity as experienced by Lamu, our friend the alien, who's actually human, who has been to Earth many times in many bodies and many lives. This is a StoryThyme loosely based on the writings of Cleveland Joel Sy from the Whispering Archangel. Cleveland Joel Sy was an alias that I used many years ago, for many years. But the book was written in 2000 or published in 2010, and it's The Whispering Archangel. You can find it on Amazon.com, and it's just a book that was sent to Hollywood, and those motherfuckers stole one of the stories and created an entire movie out of it called Cloud Atlas. And anyway, it's okay. When I have the resources, I'm gonna get mine. Anyway, they may not have stolen it, but I did send it to a couple of people in Hollywood who had access to it, a couple of really high up people. And anyway, we're not going to go into details, but let's get into the story. Okay. The secret history of Christianity as told and experienced and observed by our alien human Khuti Lamu, or actually Lamu. So Christianity is not this gummy worm, stupid religion that is practiced now by evangelicals and Catholics and Orthodox and all of that. It's a beautiful, I shouldn't call it stupid, but it's a beautiful process to be a Christian and all that stuff. But Christianity is tens of thousands, I dare say hundreds of thousands of years old. It has been part of the human story since humans have seeded themselves into this world. And people were put here not by a transcendent anthropomorphic God, but by actual humans. Humans terraformed this planet hundreds of thousands of years ago and have done back and forth journeys. You know, people have been created here, different types of people over tens of thousands of, perhaps hundreds of thousands of years, definitely hundreds of thousands. But so this current version of people that like to refer themselves as humans are actually not humans, but they're humanoids. So this is getting you caught up in the story of Lamu. And so Lamu, this human from a civilized human race on the human homeworld, Ganat Yetifa, is, hello Loki. That's cool. Loki is a good name. That's the name of Lucifer and Satan, and it's analogous to Lucifer in Western culture. But anyway, Loki is Enki. Loki, Enki, the Lord of the Earth. He is, who else is he? He is Malaktaus. And this is the thing. Hello, Nitin. Welcome. We're telling a story. This is part 5 of the story of Lamu. Where are you from? I am from everywhere and nowhere. So Lamu is this human from the human homeworld. And his story is loosely based on the Whispering Archangel. You could say he's the servant of Samael. If you know who Samael is, then drop a like. Maybe Loki knows who Samael is with that name, Loki. Maybe you know what's up. Yeah, I see it. I see you. So Samael, again, all of these names refer to time periods, to cultures, to groups of people. They don't refer to individuals. These are not anthropomorphic people. Christ was never an anthropomorphic person. There was a first century Judean revolutionary who was a rabbi who changed things up, and he embodied the Christ. But he was just one of many Christs through many ages. And so let's get into the secret history. Hello, Loki. I like that. Another Loki, or this is the same Loki with a different avatar. So Lamu, the human from the homeworld, Ganet Yetifa, a 5-planetary homeworld system. It's a binary system that humans came from. Lamu was told the secret history of Christianity. Christianity, as it is practiced by the Orthodox, the Catholics, the evangelicals, the Protestants, all these things, is a cult of mindless obeisance and following the leader and selling your soul to Satan. Nothing wrong with that. I'm all good with it. Sell your soul to Satan all day long, but let's call it what it is. If you are a member of the mainstream Christian mindless mire, you have sold your soul to Satan. Nothing wrong with that. Let's make it clear. As geopolitical Christians, it's okay for you to sell your soul to Satan, but let's call it what it is. Okay? When you outsource your power, your divinity, your authenticity, your autonomy, and your agency to a sky phantom, you're a Satanist by definition, by its purest definition, not by the Church of Satan definition, because that's actually a form of Christianity in its realest form. So Christianity's secret history goes back hundreds of thousands of years. Secret history of Christianity is part of the mystery systems. When the cataclysm occurred, Lamu observed this because the cataclysms were created by humanity to wipe out people, because people were poorly designed. Their brains were very robust and they were extremely intelligent, the people of this world, the humanoids, but there was a problem in the computing system of their quantum computer that's inside this cranial cavity. And so humanity said, let's wipe out the people and let's start all over. And so they wiped out people many times. And the cataclysms were just, wiping people out. Mud floods, fire, global catastrophes. They were just getting rid of the people on the planet because they were like, okay, let's do a different thing here. They used the monkeys at a certain point to make humans or a humanoid race. They used pigs at a certain point. That's why modern people have 98% or 99% genetic affinity with pigs, which makes no sense. 98% genetic affinity with chimpanzees makes no sense. When orangutans, we only have like 72, 78% affinity, but then pigs, we have more affinity, and they don't have these. So it makes no sense, right? Well, think about it. There's a history of genetic manipulation and taking species that exist on the planet and using them as a scaffolding or a template to graft on the human genome. And so people on this planet are not human, they're humanoids because they only have diploidal DNA. Real humans are 12-stranded DNA beings. They can manipulate reality. They're gods, basically, to the people of this planet. So Kuti Lamu was taught the everyone needs to subscribe. Thank you. I like that. Hi, do you think rapture is this year or no? The only ones. The rapture was never going to take place. It's a total bullshit thing. The rapture, okay, well, the rapture might have some validity. So the rapture is when humans come to Earth, as they do constantly, and they select the humanoid bodies that have the best genetic combinations that they like, and then they just take them. And they may not take the person, they take the consciousness, and they say, okay, this energetic frequencies, this electromagnetic frequency is what we want to perpetuate in the next iteration of people on this realm. So this is like a genetic playground. They just come in, wipe people out, take the best that they want, and they literally will rewrite and wipe out billions of people, billions and billions of billions all the time. And it's not a big thing for them. It's this, it watch Jupiter ascending, and that's like, oops, they just let something out. There's a little secret there. Yeah, they harvest planets all the time because they play with genetics. It's a game for them. It's art for them. It's art and science and play is why they are hundreds of thousands of years advanced to the people of this planet, the humanoids that live here. And so the secret history of Christianity goes back hundreds of thousands of years. And Christianity, in its original form, was just a measure of, it's a science of consciousness, understanding God, the human genome, the Most High, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, how it manifests in physical awareness and transitions itself through the earth realm. So the human history, the history of Christianity is hundreds of thousands of years old. And in Christianity, there have been different gods. So Christ, during the age of Scorpio, which I think was like 50, 70,000 years ago or something like that. It was, so we're going into the age of Aquarius, so it's Pisces, Aquarius. You got to go back. Capricorn, and Scorpio, I believe. So let's say it was 100,000 years ago, give or take. 70 to 100,000 years ago was the age of Scorpio. So Set was Christ during that time. Christianity, it just says, what is the apex archetype for the consciousness to aim toward? There is this age of Scorpio. Well, Set or the satanic like Shiva type god was what you should aim for. Okay, the age of Pisces, the deceiver. Okay, that was the Christ of the. That's why the clever, deceptive individual was the best Christ of that age. We're going into the age of Aquarius. Lucifer is the best Christ of that age. So the intelligent liberator, the one who aims for knowledge and self enlightenment, is going to be the Christ of this coming age, or the age that we're going into. That's the Aquarian age. So the Aquarian Christ is more Lucifer-like. He's a liberator. He's the one that says, pursue pleasure and liberation and think outside of the box. Be humanitarian to some extent, because Neptune does have some influence on that age. So, and there's a lot of practicality, and there's a lot of like order and law. Like, so divine law, natural law is returning, but it reflects those natures more. And so Christianity is just a matter of cultivating the highest in the individual. That's all it is. It's all it's ever been. And during the cataclysms, the mystery systems, the mystery schools created that and helped that. So there's a lot of activity here. Let's see what we got. No, the rapture is not real. I answered that one, but it is, you know, okay. So the only one says, do the mind body, let's see. Let me turn up the light so I can actually read this. Turn up the light. Okay. Does the mind only go up, not the body? The mind is an electromagnetic frequency. The body is made for this realm. And so the body gets, you know, you live forever. You live for eternity and it forever and ever if you're conscious. But the thing is, it gets really complicated. I'm not going to get into that. Okay. Oh, William. Shouty, Apex. What's up? What's up? I keep hearing more and more about Project Bluebeam. That's a good one. It's a cute one. It's a joke. So a lot of these conspiracy things, Project Bluebeam, that's a good one. I'm glad you brought that up. They're going to fake a return of Christ. It's been faked many times. But that's the last of the Piscean Christ, because the Piscean Christ is a deceiver. And so he has deceptive qualities. I'm not saying he's a deceiver, but he is very deceptive, okay? So trickery, illusion, that kind of thing, secrets where they tell you one thing, but it means another thing. That's a very Piscean Christ. So Project Bluebeam is like the end of that stuff. And so, you know, we'll see what they do with it. I don't think, I mean, they're going to like, they can fake an alien invasion. They can fake a Christ. They've already done a lot of this stuff. During the Obama administration, there were multiple portals that opened over CERN. That was Project Bluebeam. Aliens in the sky. Oh, look at the alien ship floating around. A lot of this Project Bluebeam. They're just projecting 3D holograms into the upper atmosphere, and people are thinking they're aliens and stuff like that. So, you know, we'll see what they do. I would just say check in with your gut and your nuts. Like, is it like, do you feel like it's for real, for real? If you feel like it's for real, maybe you need to follow that or go with it. But if not, then whatever. Everyone needs to subscribe, raise their hand. They say yeah and like. Thank you so much. Everyone needs to subscribe and like. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you. So yeah, Project Bluebeam, there's that. So anyway, in the story time, Lamu understood that, and he was shown over the hundreds of thousands of years that people have been on the planet. What happens is every 24 to 26,000 years, there's a significant cataclysm where they wipe everything. Everything gets wiped because they want to do something new. And that's when a new age, a new God, a new Lord. Christ talked about the Archon. Satan is the Archon. And he said, I have defeated the God of this age. He was talking about Satan. It gets really, the Piscean age is very hard to deal with because there's so much deception, so much illusion, so much trickery, so much like, okay, is this real? Like, what's happening here? Is this like, Pisceans tend to be very, very intuitive, but they're also very tricky. So you got to be careful Like, am I dealing with real stuff here, or is this illusion? And so you have to be very discerning. So discernment is a big part of the Piscean Christ in the Piscean age. Jesus said a lot of things, but you'll see in the Bible he's referred to as Lucifer. In, where is it? Luciferos in 2 Peter. Okay? So it's the arising of Lucifer in the heart of man that brings about prophecy. But it's all about this discernment. But then again, the Christ of the Aquarian age is Lucifer. So it gets very tricky, but when you understand, so Kuti Lamu or Lamu understood this, our time-traveling humanoid that takes bodies multiple times. And so that was the secret history of Christianity. It's hundreds of thousands of years. Christ is not a real person, but an anthropomorphic concept. And so the Antichrist is actually the belief of Christ as that first century Judean rabbi who came to reform the spiritual and mystery system. Notice that the Christ, Jesus, Yeshua, did exactly what Pythagoras did. He went to Egypt, he went to Persia, he probably went to Greece, but he went to India and Tibet. So he went to those 4 centers of the mystery system. And it's not said in the Bible. Yes, it is. It talks about the missing years of Christ, of Jesus, from age 13 to 33 is approximately 20 years. It's probably 14 to 20. We'll say it's 29 years. Very interesting. 29 is the number of Lucifer, or the Illuminator, the Master Illuminator. So it gets very, very, very weird. Now there is a Jewish grave that's about 2,000 years old in Kashmir. Okay, and it's of a man and a woman, and I believe presumably some children. So like 1 or 2 or 3 children. So that's very interesting. But anyway, also there's some clues. Like the Bible is a brilliant book. When they went to Jesus' tomb, for those of you who believe in the whole Jesus thing as flesh, what did they take to the tomb? They took aloes and hyssop. Aloes are for healing, hyssop is for cleaning wounds. They didn't break Jesus' legs when he was on the cross because of the prophecy in Isaiah. So Jesus was on the cross, right? Yeshua ben Yosef was on the cross. He was Joseph's son, by the way. He was on the cross. They didn't break his legs. Why? Because when they broke the legs of men that were being crucified, or women or children, it would kill the person, because what would happen is they wouldn't be able to hold themselves up and they would suffocate. They didn't break his legs. So it's highly likely that this first century Jewish rabbi never died. He was beaten to bloody pulp. He was beaten to shit. If you watch the Mel Gibson movie, he was fucked up. All right. But they didn't break his legs. So he didn't die, likely. And they took anesthetics and antibiotics. Hyssop is an antimicrobial. So they took that, healed his wounds, put the aloes on him, took him out of the tomb, recuperated him, resuscitated him. He preached for 40 more days. Then where did he go? He went to India, Tibet, went back home to Egypt, because that's where he was raised as a child. I went to his childhood home, and you can feel the energy of this first century rabbi. It's earth shattering. Got to go to Egypt. Go to the sepulcher. There's a synagogue there. Go to it. You'll feel the energy of Christ. This first century Judean, Yeshua ben Yosef, was a badass, but he was not the Christ. The Christ is in you. Okay, he came to remind us of that. Jesus did not come in the flesh. Jesus was just another dude. He was just another bloke. So anyway, Kuti Lamu or Lamu might have. Let me see. Let me see if he did spend some time with Jesus. He did know Yeshua ben Yosef, that first century Judean. He met him. He interacted with him. He was not one of the disciples, but he did meet him. He met Philo because he was in Egypt during the time when Jesus. He was an Alexandrian. He was in Egypt during the time when Jesus returned to Egypt in his teenage years, and went through the initiations that he had to go through before his murder, big quotes, at the age of 33. So it's an interesting history of Christianity. Yeshua ben Yosef was Jesus, okay, he was real, but he was not the Christ. The Christ is in your flesh. Anyone who denies that Christ comes in your flesh is the Antichrist, or lost, or satanic, or whatever. That's what the Bible is saying, and Christians fuck that shit up. They're like, well, Jesus was that first century, Christ was that first century Judean named Yeshua ben Yosef. Okay, well, there were lots of Jesuses, and there were lots of Christs. You are Christ as well. All right. Aaron says, sorry, I have to go to the sundown. Oh, yes, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, brother. The world is only 578. It is for Christians and people. It is for that version of humanity. It's only about 6,000 years. For Marians and Aryans and Mongolians, it's hundreds of thousands of years old. We've been here for fucking ever. We just re-upped. Okay. Yeah. So Aaron says, can't keep the confusing story together. Neither can they. I know, it's a confusing story. But it's actually for people that have remembered. This is about remembering, guys. It's not about me telling you something that you need to learn. Don't ever, if this is confusing, go somewhere else. This is about remembering. When you hear this stuff, you're like, oh, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, that click. It's supposed to be confusing, guys. It's supposed to be confusing. When you have discernment, you pick up on it, you're like, oh, shit, that connects. Like, there have been times I've tried to explain things to people, and it's like they don't fucking get it. And then I read a book and it like The Alchemist or something like that, and it's like click. Gummy worms can understand The Alchemist, but like this stuff is like, it's Jesus said, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a parable. 5,000 people ate fish and bread and went and shat and slept and fucked later because they were just gummy worms. Only 120 people understood what he was saying out of the 5,000. It was like 120 people. If you read Acts 8 or something like that. So Jesus spoke to people, but he spoke to people and he was waiting to see who was awake and who remembered. And so he knew most people were just worms. They weren't going to understand anything. He was like, okay, these sleeping motherfuckers don't get it. Even his own disciples were sleep motherfuckers. Mary understood. Joanna and Susanna understood. John understood to some extent. Peter got it more than most people. But it was very few people that actually understood what he was saying. So this is not to be it's not supposed to be very clear to everyone. These stories are esoteric and they're meant for just a few people. And so I'm just doing this because it feels good to do it. Everyone need to subscribe, says hi. Hello again. Everyone needs to subscribe. And like, so anyway, that's the secret history of Christianity. Let's break it down for the gummy worms. Christianity is hundreds of thousands of years old. It is a mystery system. It is designed for the cultivation of consciousness, and it transcends all religions, all cultures, all ethnicities, all nations. The Christ is not a physical anthropomorphic person. Christ is a awakening of consciousness within the flesh, within the individual. Anyone who looks in the mirror and sees themselves and recognizes themselves is cultivating Christ. Right now, we are leaving the Piscean Christ and moving into the Aquarian Christ, because we're moving into the Aquarian age. The Pisceans, like Aaron is saying, are less than 6,000 years old. Okay, they really believe that, but that's true for them. Their race has only existed for 6,000 years. Apex humans and people that have, that are cultivated like myself and other Apex Christians we've been here forever, and we've had many bodies, and we've transitioned and traveled through eternity forever and ever. And we just travel and explore and have fun and learn things and forget things and then remember, and we live forever. We're eternal beings. And one last thing, Horus and all of those gods, those were gods of the age before Pisces. Thor and all those gods were like the gods of the age of Pisces, you could say, because they're reiterations of Heru and all those. And Lucifer is the Christ of the Aquarian age. So he is the light bringer. He's the one that clarifies all the deception that we had in the previous age with the Pisceans. So anyway, that's what Kuti Lamu learned of the thing. And I should just I'm gonna get the book. I've got so many copies of it. But I'll get the book, The Whispering Archangel, and break it down more clearly so gummy worms can understand it. So anyway, that's what I got to say for that. Shabbat Shalom to all of my Jewish brothers and sisters. For those of you who are there, because it's not sunset for us yet. So we're not preparing for the Sabbath. I mean, we should have been preparing for the Sabbath all day long, but I don't worship the Sabbath anymore. I don't worship on the Sabbath anymore. Shabbat is my lifestyle. So whenever the Most High tells me to rest, I rest. So I don't really do that anymore. Anyway, that's the story, part number 5, the secret history of Christianity. And that's why all of the people that believed that Jesus was a flesh and blood person, which Yeshua ben Yosef was, they believe that Christ is a flesh and blood person that lived 2,000 years ago, all that's going away. Those forms of religion are going to come to an end very quickly. And perhaps Project Blooming will be a part of that. They'll deceive everybody, and while they're projecting the hologram into the upper atmosphere and everybody's going, oh, Lord Jesus, people in like fucking Guinea are going to be like, I don't see anything. And they'll be like, oh shit, we didn't turn the device on, so it showed up in Guinea. So yeah, because they're having a hard time. This is the thing with Project Bluebeam. They don't want you to know, but I'll say it because who gives a fuck about what I'm saying. The problem with, they tried to fake Christ's return in like the 60s. They tried and they fucked up because the technology wasn't able to project globally. Because you can actually project an image that everyone will see all at once, like they do with the moon. But they fucked up and they were like, oh, it doesn't really work like that. And they're struggling right now. So they're going to try again. They can get the tech right. But they keep getting cock blocked by humans. Like real humanity keeps cock blocking them. So we'll see. Maybe they'll fake Christ's return in the next couple of years. There's not going to be a rapture. There's not going to be a second coming. There's not going to be a judgment. None of that stuff is real. We're in this eternal and infinite existence, and we come in and out of reality all the time. And when you die, you don't even know it. You think that you had a weird dream, and you just keep going. You've died many times, if you are conscious. But if you're a gummy worm, you'll be wiped out, and you won't even know. You don't even watch this content, or you like it, or subscribe, or any of that. So anyway, that's what I got to say about that. Thanks for those who liked and watched. Thanks, William. And thanks for staying out, bro. And I'll keep growing and making it happen. This is just stories I'm telling on this one. The next video I'm going to put out is the deception. It's about the gospel is a lie. And I'm just going to use reason and logic. I'm not going to use the Bible against itself as much in these videos because it's too obvious and easy. But people are tied to that, like, the Bible is the literal word of God, Jesus Christ. Okay, that's okay to believe. But that's not what we talk about here. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, liking. I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching the story time.